Serious people who have been the target of murderers/assassins. How did you survive? And why did they target you? No way to prove it, but had all the lug nuts on my truck's front passenger rim loosened, which caused death wobble so bad I almost crashed in the fast lane of the freeway. Luckily the rim stayed on. I had ghosted this one guy and part of me suspects he came and loosened my lug nuts in retaliation. My boss discovered it being the nice guy he was. Same happened to my cousin over a girl. He died though. Edited to say, thanks, y'all for the sympathy. This actually happened when I was too young to remember my teenage cousin, but I do remember how torn up my aunt and grandma were at the funeral. I only added this to the comment above to say, yeah, loosened lug nuts are hella dangerous and nearly impossible to prove. Nobody did jail time for my cousin's death, though I'm very surprised my family didn't avenge it on their own terms. Rest in peace. Sorry for your loss. I'm not sure if it counts, but a few years ago in high school, there was this guy that used to trouble everyone by taking naked photos of them when they were changing after PE class. I happened to be one of his targets, so I reported him to my teacher and eventually he got suspended for about a month and had to attend counseling sessions. One day I was at the bus stop waiting for my bus when suddenly I felt a push on my back and I fell onto the road. Luckily for me, the bus driver stopped the bus in time and I survived. However, I fell directly on my arm and it was fractured. Last I heard, he went to the juvenile center and no one ever had to see this devil again. Oh yeah, this counts. He pushed you in front of a bus. What a creep. The creep is a bit of an understatement, lol. Yeah, he went from creep to psycho. Agreed. A creepy psycho. They missed. That's about the only reason. It was a random act of violence. A man ran up behind me, put a gun to my head and shot. He flinched or I did, and he missed by an inch. Blew out my left eardrum, and burned my hair behind my ear. He ran off immediately after. Cops said it was probably a gang initiation thing. I have deafening tinnitus now, and horrible anxiety in public. It's not my story, but the story of a family friend. He was a well-respected lawyer and had a case against the Mafia. The evidence was substantial and he won the case. Multiple Mafia members went to prison, and almost immediately after the case wrapped he started receiving threats. A few weeks later, despite police awareness, he was run off the road by another car. He survived, but with massive trauma. Lost years of memory. He and his family moved states, and he is no longer able to work. It's a survival story, but not a win. I've posted about this before. I was in a really bad abusive relationship. He had many mental issues along with diabetes. This doesn't excuse any of it, as he was aware of what his body was doing, and he never got help, but it's important to know it didn't exactly come out of the blue. One night, he seemed bored and started trying to stick his feet in my face. I pushed them away, disgusted, and he exploded. It was a whole lot of action. He started by trying to choke me. I freed myself by grabbing a cat brush, the kind with the sharp metal points, and pushing it into his chest. He let me go, but pushed me to the ground, and lifted his airsoft rifle and drove it to my head, like he was trying to cave in my skull. At the last moment he hesitated. I ran out of the apartment and called the cops. It didn't occur to me until later, when I was with a public defender documenting my injuries, that he had really wanted to kill me. I had bruising so deep they were black in color, in places I don't even remember him hitting me. He really would have, if something in him hadn't hesitated. About a year ago, I was walking my dog at night when I saw this really beat up old Honda Civic pull up on the other side of the road. I noticed that two similar cars positioned themselves on the roads perpendicular to me, both behind and in front of me. I was boxed in. This kid no older than 19 gets out with two other people, and the kid reaches for a gun in his waistband and makes a beeline towards me. A random car passes, and they all scatter. Once the car is gone, they come back and try to do the same thing, but another random car passes again, and they take off. And I made the quarter-mile run home in about 2 minutes. My guess is I was the victim of a gang initiation, and they ran away when witnesses saw. Edit. I've been getting a lot of comments about how I'm a slow runner. My dog is old, and I have knee and back injuries from years ago. Sorry, I'm a turtle, I guess, lol. My ex-boyfriend hired some guy from Chicago to murder me after I broke up with him for selling drugs to my younger sister. Fortunately, my ex and I both had a mutual friend who found out and had more pull with the attempted assassin. Both were Polish immigrants. Ex calls me up later and demands $2,000 from me because he didn't get what he paid for, as the hired gun won't give a refund. And then you called the cops, as you should, right? Dude, I so should have, but small town politics. His family had much more pull within the town and surrounding towns of southern Illinois. I always cringe when I listen to stories and the people don't call the cops. But I didn't realize I was such cringe until I read you comment. Like, this was 21 years ago and I never thought to call our local cops on him. Wish I would recorded him asking for his refund. He never hit me, just stupid asterisk like he'll pick you up at 7 PM and then won't hear from him for a few days. I never considered it abusive, as crazy as it sounds. Now, it's crazy how that happens. A girl I dated years back stabbed me when I broke up with her. Literally drove home with paper towels against my side to stem the bleeding, and it was soaking through. My seatbelt still has a big blood stain I couldn't clean. Got patched up and never saw her again, and told the story to friends like 6 years later, and their first question was, did she go to prison? That was literally the first moment it ever occurred to me maybe I should have reported her to the police or something. 6 years later. Right? What is wrong with us? I was on an almost school shooters list. Me and my friend tried to befriend a kid with pretty badass pictures. He was known to have horrible anger management issues, always got in a lot of trouble, and was somewhat infamous, but we thought he deserved at least a couple friends. The plan was to just kinda sit with him at lunch, and apart from that carry on with our lives as normal. But being he had very little social skills, never had friends, and no boundaries, he didn't know how to handle it. Very sad. He would come up to us at bad times while I was at practice, talking to girls or teachers, and would message us online day and night. We tried to have a talk with him about boundaries and how friends give each other space etc, but this just made him feel rejected and infuriated him. He became more obsessed and more persistent. Around this time I got my first girlfriend and started hanging out with her at school, so my other friend was the one who had handled it more than I did. A few weeks later found the kid tried, beat the asterisk out of my friend. He got stopped by other kids and the campus police officers. He was expelled and sent to a school for people with disabilities. I was honestly relieved he would be somewhere more equipped to help him. After that I kinda just forgot about it. About 3 months later I got called into the administration office and walked into a room with the dean of students and a police officer. I started panicking because in those days I smoked a lot of weed and thought I might have gotten caught. I was informed that the kid's mom found a list in his room of maybe 10 people that he wanted to shoot. We were number 1 and 2. His parents were divorced, and I guess the dad had guns, so the mom panicked and called the police. The officer asked me if I was scared. I said no, I thought the kid was a kind to make empty threats out of anger and wouldn't go through with something like that, but my friend was terrified. I don't know what came of that from a legal standpoint. Last I heard the kid got help and figured it out and is going to college. He actually messages me happy birthday every year. I don't respond. My brother liked to brag about his money and usually invited his scummy friends to drinks, food, even rides everywhere they wanted to go. One day, they told my brother that the car of a friend of his had broken down and asked him for help. When they go to his location, a guy comes out of nowhere and shoots my brother 3 times in the back. Almost agonizing. They put him in his car and his friends and the shooter start driving who knows where. I would guess to end him and dispose the body. The capital in my country is really small, so to get anywhere you have to cross a monument that connects highways to go any place far away. To specify, my brother was in the back with one of his friends. The other friend was driving and the shooter was in the passenger seat. When they got to the monument, don't ask me how, not even my brother understands, with 3 shoots in his body and bleeding to death. But he saw a small distraction from the guy next to him and a nervousness of the guys in the front that were going through the most trafficked area possible. He hit the guy with his head, opened the door, and rolled out of the car. He started crawling on the street to get to a sidewalk and started yelling for help. The guys in the car obviously escaped. Given the area, they didn't stop nor shot him cause it would have caused a huge scandal. In the end, ambulance got there. My brother survived because none of the bullets touched anything vital. Eventually, they caught the 3 guys, but a lot of the other friends that were involved were not charged due to lack of evidence. Edit. Just punctuation.